So y'all, this video is a little different because it's actually me self-reflecting on a video I had done prior and actually checking myself a little bit, challenging my perspective. So if you all had a chance to watch the friends, family, and forgiveness video, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, please go back and do that before watching this video. So pause here, watch the previous video, and then come back to this, and then you'll have context and a better understanding of why I'm presenting this video. So I watched that video, right? I'm sitting there, I'm smiling, I'm very calm voiced, and I'm like, guys, family is love, family is roots, you know, family is therapy, family is forgiveness, family is everything, right? And then I sat back and I said, Mrs. Litz, you got a family member, one in particular, it's literally the pink elephant in my head and in my heart, who you haven't spoken to in years. And I'm talking over 20, y'all, over 20 years. And I said, how are you preaching family and love and forgiveness and you haven't spoken to this individual? So I'm literally kind of self-assessing because I self-reflect every day to see, you know, what I did the day before, or what I did earlier in the day or the day before, that can make me a better person, things that I can change, things that I may want to change, things that I'm okay with not changing. And in self-reflecting, I said, there were two parties involved in this incident that resulted in you not speaking to your relative in all these years. Yet, you are open to communication and you have been more forgiving of one party and not the other. Why is that, Mrs. Litz? Because one is family and the other isn't. So I said, okay, why am I? Before I get to the relative that I am not speaking with, let me speak on why I continue to be open-hearted with this other individual. When it comes to me, I am big on loyalty. And when I say that, I mean, there could be somebody that I can't rock with. They are just toxic. And when I think of toxic individuals, this come to mind, right? Someone who is drama-oriented, always got some type of BS going on. They're dishonest as hell. You're not going to get the truth out of them if you try. They're just prone to lying. They're master manipulators, or have a negative outlook on shit. Nothing can ever be bright side and bushy-tailed. Everything is just doom and gloom. They create tension. Poke bears run. That's never good. And they think everyone else is the problem. They might be gossipers, and they lack accountability. Like, those are toxic people to me. But it's something about those toxic individuals. If you are a toxic person, but you had my back, you held me down, you lifted me up, you supported my children, you know, you looked out when I didn't have shit. Maybe you wasn't even strong enough to lift me up. Maybe you weren't brave enough to have my back. But when you saw I was at my weakest, you got down on the ground or on the floor with me and you kept me company. That in and of itself is going to earn my loyalty. I could think of 100 things you did to disrespect me. But if I could think of one thing you did that really showed me that you was down for me and mine, that shit will outweigh all the negative that you've done to me. Maybe not so much other people, because I'm quick to think about all the times you had my back, then all the times you stabbed me in my back. Because that means that you didn't have to, but you did. And even though you did when you shouldn't have, I'm always going to apply a little bit more weight to the former than the latter. So the individual who was involved in that situation, who was not the relative, who I decided to allow interaction and communication with, has been loyal. They did for me and did things for me that nobody else had. When I was going to school, working 2 part-time jobs, paid the rent, paid the bills, looked out for my child, kept me on the road in terms of cars. Like, I wanted for nothing during this particular phase of my life because of this specific individual. My life was made easier because of this individual. So even though you royally fucked up in one aspect of our ship, whether it's relationship, kinship, or what have you, I can count all the times you did me right, and that matters to me. So that's why I'm able to move past that person's indiscretions as opposed to the other individual. So that's the distinction there. And then I want to talk about friends real quick before I get into the familial piece. I have friends that I have not spoken to in years, 2, 3, 5, not as long as 20. But I think about the relationship, the dynamics that I had with those friends. And when I think about my friendships, these individuals are in my top 5 every time. Every time. Because A, they never did me dirty. They never violated the 5 C's. My children, my cock, my car, my crib, or my cash. They never violated the 5 C's. And our distance may just be due to time, due to commitments, due to priorities. Maybe I did something to them and they haven't forgave me for it. I don't know what it is, but I know that if they ever reached out, I'm definitely open-armed and willing to have a conversation or a discussion with that person. So I am all about forgiveness. I don't want to seem like a hypocrite because I'm willing to accept certain things, but I have hard boundaries. And when you cross those, that's when you can never come back. This isn't a dotted line on a highway. This is a solid line. And once you went over to one side, I'm almost always not going to accept you back. So now for this particular family member, we had a falling out 20 years ago because they violated one of my 5 C's. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I never allowed them back into my life or wanted communication with them. A, I was not the first family member they violated in this particular way. They had done it to one other, they had done it to another, then I came. And I don't know who else they may have done it to. And then B, they never apologized. It was always an excuse or a redirection. Like, well, it wasn't me, it was them. C, you used me. You would come to my crib. You would be in the presence of me and mine during the time you knew they were doing some grimy shit. And you never told me. You never brought it to my attention. You participated in it. So for me, that's where it was like, I can tolerate a lot of shit, but character flaws I cannot. So to me, that proved like, you know, this particular person had a character flaw that I could not look past for the sake of my own integrity. And then the final thing that fucked it up is that you violated in that sense, not y'all, my audience, but this particular person violated, and then they also showed red flags of doing it again. So it was like, nah, we can never go back because then I'm going to be put in a position where I'm crossing the line of just not fucking with you and fucking you up. And that's never okay. I don't think we should ever solve problems with violence. So that's why I feel like I can't move past the indiscretions of that individual. Do I have love for that person? Absolutely. They're family. They will always be family. Does that mean that this person will never be invited to family functions? Absolutely not. If I'm having them, they're never on my invite list. But that doesn't mean that you can't come to other family functions. That's your family too. I don't hold rank over that. We all come from the same bloodline. Absolutely. Do that mean that I will ever violate them? No, I would never. I don't care if we don't speak in 100 years. If I'm on my deathbed, I still won't do you dirty. You don't deserve that. But I just can't move past certain things, and I'm not willing to allow that individual in my space. But I have forgiven them. I have totally forgiven them. And forgiveness for me means that when I see you, I don't got to screw face you. You know, I don't got to talk behind your back. When I hear your name, it doesn't automatically bring up ill feelings and make me want to verbally assassinate that individual. Forgiveness for me looks like, you know, I can say hello and I can say bye. It means that I'm not going to intentionally try to hurt you or your child or violate your 5 C's in any way, because I would never do to them what they did to me, ever. That's just not who I am as a person. So that's what forgiveness look like. It doesn't mean that I have to ever hold a conversation with that person. It doesn't mean that I'm going to come to your functions, and it doesn't mean you're going to come to mine. So I do forgive people who disrespected me, and forgiveness is going to look different for me than it does for you guys. So I hope that makes sense to the audience. I really did this video because there's people close to me who know about what I'm speaking of, and I'm sure when they watch the video, they're probably like, this fucking hypocritical ass girl, now you know she ain't spoke to such and such and I don't know how many years, and they family, and she get on this public thing talking about forgiveness. Yeah, guys, yeah. So this is an explanation for those who may be confused about my previous position, but it's also a way for me to address that silent elephant that's been in my heart and that sits in my mind, and especially that came up when I did that previous video. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say about that. I don't want you guys to walk away feeling like when somebody does you dirty, you got to forgive them just because they're family, because some people shouldn't be a part of our lives. Some people haven't earned the right to be a part of our life. And we have to dictate that based on our own boundaries that we set. But it doesn't mean that we can't forgive and move past. Establish what your negotiables are and your non-negotiables when it comes to the individuals that have done us wrong. But I feel like when there's family, we do need to give them a little bit more grace. And in my heart, I have given that person a little bit more grace, because I have forgiven in such a way that I now could be in that individual's presence and have no ill feelings or no malice. Nobody can ever come to me and be like, yo, I'm about to fuck such and such up just because I don't like them. No, that's my family. You will not. They're not going to violate your child in my presence, because that's my family. You will not. I'm not going to hear somebody is going to do something bad to you and not let somebody know so they could put you on. It's just not who I am. That's not how I operate. So even if I don't fuck with you, I'm never going to fuck you over. And that's a lesson to everybody who may be watching this video. So that was, my feelings on family, friends, and forgiveness. And whether or not it makes sense, that's my honesty, that's my truth, and that's how I live. And I sleep very well at night. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening. And if you're on Instagram, hope to catch you there as well. I love you guys. Take care. Peace.